My name is Ben Tewolde. Currently, I'm a pharmacist with CVS Pharmacies. So currently, I work at Matthews. Initially, I was working at different locations, but now at the Matthews Pharmacy. I went to the University of Illinois in Chicago. And before that, I went to Harvard College. And I wanted to study medicine. I wanted to become a doctor. I thought the route of pharmacy would give me a better understanding of medicine before heading to medical school. But needless to say, that didn't happen. I ended up just going to pharmacy school, and I'm a pharmacist now. For me, at that time, cost was a big issue. So I wanted to go to the cheapest place, because what most people don't know is that there are professions to where it doesn't matter where you go. You can go to Harvard or you can go to a local college, and the persons going out of those colleges end up making the same amount of money. So for me, it was a rate of return. Why am I going to spend a whole lot of money on some school when I get out, I make the same amount of money as the other guy does? So for me, it was methodical. I said, hey, I want to go to a school where the cost of getting a degree is cheaper. So when I get out, I don't have a whole lot of debt, right? And one of the things that most people don't realize is the fact that, okay, if you want to study nursing and become a nurse, whether you go to Harvard Nursing School, which is $50,000 or $60,000 a year, or UNCC at $5,000 a year, at the end of the day, those same nurses take the same nurses board exam, and once they're licensed, they all make the same amount of money. So the only difference is the Harvard nurse with $200,000 debt versus a UNCC nurse with maybe $20,000 debt. That's huge. 50% of the people that graduate in a certain field end up doing something else. So I went to school to be a pharmacist, but I only did pharmacy for a 5 to 6 year period until I acquired a certain amount of capital, and then I went into business for myself. So I was an entrepreneur, so I just needed capital to start up to do something, and then I found an entrepreneurial route into franchising. I got into franchising. My wife and I got into insurance, tax, bookkeeping, and other stuff, and we had 8 to 10 locations, 70 employees at one time. So yeah, I did study and become a pharmacist, but that's not what I did for a bulk of my career. Now that I'm back to right now, but after I sold my business, I wanted to get back into it because I missed it. But other than that, most people end up studying something that they think they like, and then they go out and they say, well, that's not what I wanted to do. But the beauty is now you have a degree. You have an umbrella policy, or you have an insurance policy. In case something doesn't work out, you can always go back to being whatever you studied. But the fact that you're also educated gives you avenues or research tools. Now you have research skills to research other things to get into, because you've got this foundational piece. Internships to me are key, because that's where you actually where the rubber meets the road. You're going into, let's say if you wanted to be an attorney, you're working at a law firm. Or if you want to be a doctor, doctors usually have, residency, so that's why they do residencies, so people can learn. But internships are really key, because that allows you to get a big picture of what's happening in that organization or in that field, so to speak. So you're like, wow, this is me. I like this stuff. Versus, nah, that's not who I am. And so it just gives you a sense of direction as to, hey, did what I study match up with what I'm about to do, or is this totally different? And then it gives you a sense of direction as to which way you want to go. Especially in entrepreneurship, it's important, because I didn't get an MBA degree. I didn't have any business background, so I ended up doing some sort of shadowing of another business owner that was successful. And we kind of saw what he did, how he did it, how his marketing was done, how he picked his locations, and so on and so forth. So that was instrumental, because that's the blueprint for success. Basically, somebody's telling you, hey, listen, here's our successful organization, and this is how we did it. And I think if you go to your market and do it this way, I think there's a greater chance of success. And that's why franchise businesses succeed. McDonald's works in Chicago, it's going to work in Charlotte. It's going to work in Washington, D.C. Why? Because it's a system. So yeah, shadowing by far is superior, and that's why franchising works. I was interested in basically being my own boss. The people that I worked for lack of a better word, were a bunch of jerks. Didn't like them. And so didn't like that corporate climate because I don't think it paid attention to the individual worker, so to speak. So what I did was when I created my own business, I had 60, 70 employees. I wasn't just a boss. I was actually part of an organization, part of the team. So we had no bosses. It was just a flat organization. So I made it such that I wanted them to think that they were part of the organization, that it wasn't just our organization, my wife's and I's organization. So, and then to do that, we had a bonus structure. We incentivized them as part owners so that everybody felt like, wow, this is my baby. This is my organization. And so I didn't have to tell them work hard. They worked hard because they knew they were attached to the business, because through bonuses and other incentives, they partook on the income benefits of the company. So it made the working relationship better. They came to work happy. They worked hard, and without me saying you need to work hard, because they felt like this was their organization. So I wanted to create that, and I did that, and I was happy about that. I've always liked healthcare because the reason I got into it initially was I wanted to help my community. I wanted to help people. I figured, okay, if I got into healthcare, you're gonna always have sick people. And so if I can help sick people get better, then I feel my needs of social contribution is met while I'm still being employed. So I just didn't want to do a 9-to-5 job. I actually wanted to go to work and make my community feel better. So today I'm going to go to work in the afternoon and give flu shots, give pneumonia shots, give shingle shots, and also fill prescriptions. So there's a sense in that where, it's a huge retirement community where I work at, and I'm making the life of these individuals better by recommending that they get these shots, and possibly increasing their lifespan, and so on and so forth. So that's why I got into it. When you're an entrepreneur, the one thing that's guaranteed is hard work. Revenues are never guaranteed. So we do a lot of work in the hopes of hopefully to generate revenues by providing service to the community. And sometimes what you do may not work, so you have to reevaluate what you're doing so that it meets the needs of the community, or the service that needs to be fulfilled. So if you're going to generate revenue in any sector, there has to be a need, and you have to fulfill that need in order for people to say, you know what, I do need that service, or I do need that product. And so the hard part was just finding out what is the need that the community needs. And so once we figure that out, we're able to deliver and then generate revenues. But again, that's a cyclical up and down cycle until you get it figured out. Here's my message to a high school senior. This is the most exciting time to be alive. So we are at the cusp of figuring out AI, artificial intelligence. AI is like what electricity was 100 years ago. Initially, when electricity came on the scene, it's like, okay, we're gonna light up our rooms. Little did we know, you can use it in engines to move the locomotive. You can use it in trains. You can use it in refrigerators. You can use it in microwaves. You can use it in all things, and it just transformed our economy and our country and all of society. And AI is the same thing. ChatGPT happened 6 months ago. It hasn't been that long. So there'll be ChatGPT moments in autonomous driving and many things. And these applications will completely transform the way life is lived forever. But it's not going to take 10 to 20 years. It's going to happen next year, year after. So 5 years, we'll have transformative changes. So all in robotics, genomics, energy density, electrification, blockchain, all these things. So if you're a high school student, this is an exciting time to be alive because there's so many things you can get into. And sadly enough, the education system can't train you for the jobs of tomorrow because they have not been created yet. Because it's a fluid system, it's just moving. So if I was a high school kid right now, I'd be very happy, excited, work on things that don't change over time, which is your character. Are you a good person? Are you a likable person? Do you like to learn? Be happy to learn. Adopt a lifestyle of learning, because things are going to change. So you have to adapt. So just love to learn, and things are going to be exciting. One regret is that I wish I would have picked up coding. So if there's any high school student, learn how to code. It's important, because the future, especially with AI, things are changing dramatically. And people say, well, yeah, you can use AI to code. Yeah, I agree with that, but you still have to know basic foundations of coding. So if you can code, you don't have to be an expert at it, but at least learn some aspect of it. I think it will be a game changer for you as an individual, because you can get into different things in different sectors. I'm one of those guys that I'm an entrepreneur. I'm real estate. I'm as a pharmacist right now. I'm also doing a few things on the side. So eventually, my goal is I want to be at a place where I can give back to the community. So my thing is I love spending a lot of time with young people. How do I advise young people to be a better version of themselves, or have them prepare for the future? So at the end of the day, for me, even like with church and other things in my community, we impact a lot of young people in terms of giving them directions for college, steady directions, and so on and so forth. So I feel more fulfilled when I'm spending time with a lot of young people and just kind of give them directions. Hey, here's what's in the horizon. I think if you did this and that, you'd be better off. And so that's what I want to do. Always pursue your passion, because if you pursue your passion, you don't have a job. You have a passion to go to. Now, that's very hard, but find something that you like, something that you know what, I'm really passionate about this stuff. Like, I'm passionate about transforming this. And it doesn't have to be in a global scene. It could be at a local scene. Not everybody could be Elon Musk, but you could be the Elon Musk in your community or in your school or whatever it may be, depending on that passion that drives you.